Okay, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you may be. I know we have different time zones. Right now in Africa, I believe people are sleeping. Right here in America, I'm now in Alaska, America, which is now 12, 17 minutes past. That is Alaskan time. I believe in eastern part of America is I believe it's 4 o'clock, and the mid part of America is 3 o'clock. I believe in Australia, maybe at night or evening. I didn't look at that. Anyway, good morning, good evening, good afternoon, wherever you may be. Welcome to my today shows. My today shows is going to be very brief, very brief. And actually, it is going to be about the question I posted on the screen. Coup d'etat and illusion of democracy, especially in Africa. What's going on? In particular, West Africa. What's going on in West Africa? Now in West Africa, you see that, um, you see, and you have been seeing um, many West African countries, generals, uh, take over power from their own presidents. Some claims the president has been in power for many years. Some claims the president failed to manage the country leadership or security. Um, the generals, the claims that the president is a dictator, and so many other things. But here is a question: the same generals that are taking over the powers from the presidents, what did they do differently from previous presidents? What do they do? They even become worse than the previous presidents because they're struggling to maintain the country, the power that they took through power. They're maintaining, they're trying to maintain it, they're trying to protect it from outsiders and insiders. They have many economic sanctions. They run into problems, economic problems. They have no finance to finance the projects. And they say, we're going to give the power back to the people, which they don't. So they're even making life so harder for the citizens of their country, okay, than ever before. So really, when I see generals takes over powers from their own presidents, and I see the citizens of that particular country come out and celebrate a coup d'etat, that's not a solution. You are even making it worse. You know why? I did research about uh, countries where politics turn into a military coup. You know, I did research about coup d'etats in Africa, the benefits and disadvantages of it. What does it take for a country when a military takes power from elected leaders? Nothing changed, or even when it changes, then it changes at that particular time, and then when another military coup takes place, the whole thing that has been done is destroyed. And what I realized and what I noticed and what I find out from my own research is that any country that involves in coup d'etat never stabilize. Never. Even when a country is stabilized, it is stabilized for maybe a short period of time, maybe 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, or maybe even probably 10 years. But you know what? After 10 years, when another military giant or power takes the power, then the whole thing that has been done for all this long time is destroyed. And then that person comes in, try to rebuild what has been destroyed, try to correct what went wrong. Then economic problems come in here because they always don't have money to start. The only option is to go outside a country and ask for money, and that's loans. So development remains the same. So if you believe in practicing a coup d'etat in your country as a citizen, please take this advice for free. A coup d'etat is not a good thing. It is not. It may be good at that particular time when someone who you want to take that power takes the power. But put in your mind, after a long run, another general will come in and take the power away from that general. So the country is ruled on coup d'etat, rotation. 10 years, another coup, 5 years, another coup, 20 years, another coup. And the country is not going to be stabilized. The stability of the country is very weak. Now, people talk about, oh, our leaders stay in power for long. Let me ask a question. A king or a queen lives a long life as a queen of a country until she dies. Then another member of family takes over. Or a queen, a king. A king lives a long life. He lives as a king of that particular country until when he dies, his son or daughter takes over. A century and a century, a century, a century. So why citizens of that particular country is under kingdomship or under monarchy don't complain? Why the military in that particular country does not take over the power? You know why? Two things. Number one, when a military that general will think of taking power may be successful or may not. And when he or she is successful, takes power from the king, guess what? You plug a country into a very unrestful situation. And from there, you lose everything that has been constructed or built. Now you are trying to renew the country. Difficult because you don't have means of finance to do so. Okay? That's number one. Number two, you have brought yourself into a big problem because put your mind in the process of your leadership, you will make mistakes, so many mistakes. The mistake that made you think of taking a power from the previous administrator or leadership or president. And when you make those mistakes, then put in your mind that those whom you took power from others, and they are now in the military, they will also take it over from you. What happened now? And what is going to happen? The country is going back and forth, up and forth. About what? About coup d'etat. Who is taking the power and who is who and who is not. Now, no peace in the country. Development, no more. Economic, getting worse. But you as general, you as president, you as members of parliaments, you as the governors, you're enjoying the privileges of being leader, controlling those small resources for the country. Unfortunately, the citizens are the ones suffering. The problem, the citizens are the ones supporting coups. So, so, so my question is particularly in West African countries. In West African countries now, coup is taking place every single year. Leaders of the army or military generals takes power from elected presidents. And we talk about democracy. Unfortunately, the Western countries, if they don't like you, even if you were democratically elected, but they don't like you, you don't give them what they want, they will not support you whether you are overthrown or not. They will not. They will be laugh of you. They pretend, it is wrong for military to take the power over, but they're telling the same military, hey, you're doing a good job. Take him out. We will help you. Okay. And when the military comes in, then they know how they will get rid of those. So please wake up, Africa. Wake up, Africans. It's time to wake up. The Western world is playing your minds because the colonization periods does not work anymore. You know, going to each country and take things by force. They don't want that one anymore now. They are using this. But gun, taking things by using a gun, no, they totally buried that. But now the most powerful one is this. Okay, they can get me, and then they can make you against me, and then we fight. Then they support who they want at that particular time. So wake up, Africa. Wake up. It is time to wake up. Please, time to wake up. Now, um, another thing that I realize from most African politicians is about election. Election in Kenya, 2022 election, was the most simplest, the cleanest, transparent, fair, and free election in Africa as a whole. You could even calculate the number of votes for each candidate in your own house. It was almost like election being done in America. But guess what? After the results were announced and president-elect was announced, then the oppositions, the loser, turned it into something else. Oh, the election was rigged. All votes were students. They went to Supreme Court. The Supreme Court found zero. There was nothing wrong with elections, except there was something wrong within administration of IEBC, which is called, I believe it is Independent Electoral Boundary Commissions. That's what it stands for, IEBC. There was a difference among the commissioners because majority commissioners wanted Raila Amolo Odinga as the winner of the day. Minority said, no, we're not going to go against the law. The winner is the winner. It doesn't matter. That's what brought the difference. And the opposition takes it as something very important, and they went to court. And in fact, the court looked into the case, and they found what? Zero. But after that, they have not yet convinced the opposition. They still don't recognize Dr. William Samoei Ruto as the president. They said, no, it's not. He did not win the election. Up to today, if you fight for democracy, and now what you fought for has come to reality, people are enjoying it. But because you did not get elected, then democracy is far away from truth. And that's what's going on with none other than Raila Amolo Odinga. Raila Amolo Odinga is a very powerful politician in Kenya who fought for multi-parties policy, which brought Kenya, in fact, to many parties now being formed to form a coalition. But there's one thing that he did not get, being elected as a president. And because he did not get elected as president, everything that he did and is doing or has been doing is not yet reached until he becomes the president of the country. Imagine. And he is an elder person in politics and by age. He would have been the one to say, you know what? I tried 5 times and I lost it in a good way and in a wrong way. Therefore, maybe God didn't want me to be a president of this country. I'm done. Whether President Ruto won his right way, wrong way, I'm done. Let me call it a day. No, he still believes that if he does not become the president, no true election in Kenya. Which put questions in so many people's minds about African politicians. Do you accept something is right when it comes to your own way, and is wrong when it's going to someone else? Because if Raila Amolo Odinga won 2022 election, the election would have been the right thing. It would have been fair, free, and simple if you won that election. But he did not win. No, election is not election. African politicians believe that if they concede that I lost election, he or she becomes weak. He or she feel less value. Because how in the world would a chicken seller, how in the world would a guy from a poor family win election over a person who comes from a very powerful family, rich, never get hungry? How? That is a question that enters into many people's minds, like that, particularly Raila Amolo Odinga. He would not recognize Ruto as a president because Ruto is a young guy to him. At the same time, he came from a poor family, so he doesn't seem to be qualified to be a president. Like they used to call him thieves during campaign. But the question you have to ask yourself is, every human being has a special value. William Samoei Ruto has political skills that Raila Amolo Odinga, who has been in politics for more than 60 years, doesn't have. And Raila Amolo Odinga might have skills that William Ruto doesn't have. So it is something natural. It is something natural. So I'm asking my fellow Africans, Coup DeTat does not change anything. It's make everything worse. I came from Sudan. And Sudan, right at the beginning of the independence in 1956, the appointed prime minister by then did not take that long in leadership. He was overthrown by a military wing person called Jeffrey Nemeri. And then Nemeri was in power for about 20 years, maybe. Then he was overthrown again by Sadiq al-Mahdi, who was overthrown. I don't know who was and then Sadiq al-Mahdi was elected. That's the first prime minister was elected, by the way. Anyway, I don't know how he got elected. But after a short run of time, then the military came in and took power from him. And that was Bashir. And Bashir ruled Sudan for 30 years. And by the way, Bashir ruled Sudan for 30 years, but developed Sudan also in a very, very wonderful way. But guess what? Again, he was taken away by coup d'etat. And up to today, country called Sudan, Northern Sudan, actually, I'm now from South Sudan. So now Northern Sudan now is actually on the beach of wild wolves. Wolves, when they become very wild, and they come around the beach. Other animals cannot. It became a very wild, poor bushes, a wild bushes where there's so many wild animals, but small animals do not have a space to live in peace. So general becomes wild animals, wild big animals in Sudan now, whereas the citizens have, floating around, roaming around in very dangerous ways, dangerous lives, because Sudan becomes very dangerous. It has become a military campaign city. That's because of military coup. So a coup d'etat is not a solution. And this message is going to all, West African people. This so-called coup d'etat is destroying you. Okay. But anyway, next time when I come, I will present, I'll talk about leadership, what it means to be a leader. Otherwise, you are going to enjoy this brief video I made. It's maybe senseless, but you're going to benefit out of it. Please subscribe if you get my message so that I know that you actually subscribed, and then the video will actually, when I come live, will actually send a message automatically. Thank you very much. I'm Dr. Denti, independent researcher at Educating Mind College. Thank you very much.